Is your character's backstory dull? Uninspired? Do you leave the table wanting more from your character? Well, here at Prologue Productions Podcast, we are here to help. With our crack team of practiced prologue practitioners, we use our tried and true method of improvisational and impromptu instruction to facilitate an impactful and fulfilling backstory. Send us your questions at prologueproductionspodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Podbean at prologueproductionspodcast.podbean.com. Please consult your GM to see if the Prologue Productions Podcast is right for you. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Welcome to the Prologue Productions Podcast. I'm Jake.
And I'm Jacob.
And we're going to be rolling up a new and improved, just kidding, just a new character.
It could be improved.
I mean, that's the whole goal of it.
Yeah.
But it's not improved because it hasn't been made yet.
Don't you dare look at me like that.
All right.
All right, cool. So, hi, everybody. You guys ready? You guys ready to have a really awesome backstory, really cool character?
Yay, random backstory, random character. We're going to make it work in the Forgotten Realms setting. We're starting with that because it's what we know. Our current campaign is Forgotten Realms. Mm-hmm. And we're going to just do what most people start with. We're going to do Lost Mine. I have all of the information from Lost Mine very firmly ingrained in my brain because I've done it 3 times now. And we're so far off the rails that that information is mostly subsumed by lots of other stuff. But that's okay because we know it pretty good.
Yeah, but there's a lot of the setting stuff and a lot of like the main factions that are still applicable. Maybe not necessarily important figures, but I think generally you're still using all of it, or a good chunk of it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun. Okay.
Cool. All right, so we're going to start with our proprietary method of rolling up a character, and that starts with
Class.
Class.
All right, we're going to roll a d12 for class, okay? And then once we roll this, then we're going to roll for subclass. So, let's see. We're going to start with 2 is a bard.
Ooh, a bard.
Interesting.
I've been wanting to make a bard for a long time.
And then subclass for bard, we have 8 different choices. Let's see, we've got 2 again. This is the College of Valor.
College of Valor.
Yes. Those who tell vibrant and powerful war stories.
Okay, cool. So now that we have College of Valor locked in, and this is assuming that obviously if we're doing subclass, some campaigns are going to start at level 1. I think most entry-level campaigns, they want you at level 1 so you can experience the complete and utter despair of being a level 1 character and getting crit by a goblin and almost dying.
Yeah. I at least like to start off with level 3. I think 3 is a decent way to start, even level 4, especially if people already know what.
Yeah.
If people are already familiar with the rules, then just starting off the bat, you get your stat improvement or you get your extra feat to kind of, further hone in whatever combat style, whatever play style that you're looking for.
Absolutely. Also, I like creating characters in the few times that I have in D&D, because I'm mostly the DM for D&D, is I like starting my character with sort of a vague framework of where I want my subclass to go. Because subclass can inform so many aspects of a character. There's a lot of subclasses where it's like, okay, ties into the backstory, makes it work really well, so that's what we're going to do. And what's next?
Let us see here. After that, so I think we really can't... Yeah, let's see. Let's do race. Let's get race going here. So of the races, we have 20 different options, so let's roll that d20. If there are any sub-races, we can also roll for that. So let's see. We got 10. So for 10, we have Gnome.
A gnome.
Now,
College of Valor.
There's 3 choices, so we'll roll d6, and we'll see what we get for that. Let's see, we got a 4, so that's going to be option 2. It's going to be a rock gnome.
Rock gnome.
Yes.
Very nice.
Now, I'm quite familiar with rock gnomes. But Jake, if you would like to discuss the intricacies of rock gnome.
Okay, cool. I mean, honestly, as far as the 2014 rules are concerned, there's not like the lore difference is there. It's a little, you know, unless you're a deep gnome, there's not a huge amount of difference as opposed to like biome, and you know, gnomes generally have the same kind of behavior.
Right.
Forest gnomes are going to be your whimsical little animal speaking little guys. Rock gnomes are sort of your general, what you imagine being like your tinkerer, artificer type kind of person. And then deep gnomes, you know, well, you know a deep gnome.
Yeah, rock gnomes, they get artificer's lore when they make intelligence checks with magic items, alchemical objects, all that sort of stuff. They gain extra proficiency.
Did you know that deep gnomes in D&D, there is a name for them in the lore? And
Which
you know
is
what that is?
No.
Svirfneblin.
Excuse me, what?
Svirfneblin.
Smurfneblin?
No, Svirf.
Svirf.
Neblin.
Spell it.
Svirneblin.
It's
Svirf.
weird.
Oh, I forgot the F.
Please, continue.
Sverfel. Svirfne. Nope. Sverfneblin. Svirfneblin.
And the fact that that is in your brain somewhere, how to spell that is mind-blowing.
I don't. Oh, it's because of the Drizzt Do'Urden series, which I am 26 books deep.
They also get proficiency with Tinker's tools, and they can construct clockwork devices, starter fires, music boxes. Very interesting.
Some good gnomish-ish.
Yeah. So a bard tinkerer is what we have currently. It doesn't have to lean into it.
If you really
but-
want to lean into like classic gnomish sort of like stereotypes, do you want to stereotype gnomes? Are you stereotyping gnomes right now?
No, but
No?
I'm just saying if you have artisan tools to tinker, who am I to knock you for that?
Okay.
He can build music boxes.
All right.
It's when open music. They play little songs, so you
Sure.
can use it to record songs, and you can give people out music boxes like your EPs and CDs and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like, here's my music box.
Yeah.
Here's my music box.
That's like Chetney Pockopy from the current D&D
Sure.
current Critical Role campaign.
Yeah, he gives
Pretty
out
sure
toys.
he's a rock gnome. Yeah, and he gives out C-pop industry stuff.
Yeah.
So funny.
So there you go.
Funny.
You can give out little magical music boxes that have songs on them that you record.
Yes. Also, for those of you that are listening, we're using the 2014 rules for this, which thankfully are still available on D&D Beyond, thanks to the community. So, thank you, community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have class, subclass, race, subrace.
Right. Yes.
What's next?
Can we start? Well, what do we got with that? Like, what can we?
Oh, what do we got with that?
Yeah, what do we got with that? Where do gnomes typically hail in the Forgotten Realms?
I mean,
I guess that doesn't necessarily
it doesn't
matter.
necessarily matter. We're doing Lost Mines, so they're from the Sword Coast.
Yeah. Okay, so you're a traveling musician who sings of valor.
Perhaps. However, the background of a character does tend to inform the location that the character originated from. So let's go ahead and roll the die.
Okay, here we go. So D20 on here. Let's see. We've got a 3. He or she.
He's
they,
a criminal.
A criminal.
Ooh.
Criminal background.
A criminal bard.
Interesting.
Telling stories of valor, or starting to, if you're a level 1 bard.
You could lean into if they're a more good-natured bard, that they could be singing songs of, bringing down the patriarchy, and kind of like an
Why
anarchistic
the patriarchy?
bringing down the
This is a female gnome?
yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I
that would
mean,
be-
we haven't...
that could be
Sure.
interesting. Roll for gender.
Roll for gender.
Roll for gender is a male.
Okay,
Bring down the patriarchy.
All right.
Yeah. A feminist male bard. That's
Sure.
fine. Bring down the
There's
patriarchy.
nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. But it could be like a Robin Hood situation where they're singing, singing songs of bringing down the man and stealing from the rich, giving to the poor. That whole deal.
I love that. That's immediately where your mind goes.
Yeah,
Is
sure.
like a anarchist.
Yeah. Focus
I don't know.
system, man.
That's just so funny to me that that's where your mind goes. Because my mind's like, I don't know, maybe they were singing the wrong songs to the wrong people about like nobility or something like that, or like comprising poems or something that make fun of the wrong people. And they
Speaking
got
slam
sent to jail.
speaking slam poetry about the nobles and
This is
getting
an
thrown in jail.
edgy gnome,
I think that's fun.
very edgy gnome. I think it's funny too. We're learning lots about each other and about Dungeons and Dragons.
Slam poetry. That's
A
what I
slam poet gnome.
Yeah.
I want to hear you. First
Absolutely
of all,
not.
I want to hear you come up with some bardic inspirations, some slam poetry bardic inspirations.
Absolutely not.
That would be. Oh my god, that would be so fucking funny.
You can't do that on the spot.
Why not?
We'll find out. We'll see. So
You gotta warm up a little bit.
so I mean we can go either way with it. You know, if you want to
Sure.
be a little bit more boring, we can go the you're just singing to nobles and you sing the wrong songs to the wrong people and you get thrown in
okay.
jail.
All
Or you
right.
can have a total anarchist and just saying fuck the system. You
yeah,
know?
I mean we're kind of just spitballing.
Yeah.
we're spitballing here.
Do you
So-
want to get the full breadth of our options and then further hone in? You know, so we can see how old is this gnome? 'Cause what if he's like, what if he's an old man?
Yeah,
and
that'd
just
be
like,
great.
All right, let's see.
Oh, I'd love that.
Oh, he's a 4.
So
He's
old.
elderly.
Oh,
he's
elderly.
elderly.
He's an elderly.
He's an
Hey,
elderly man.
Gnomes live a long time.
Yes,
Elderly
they do.
gnome, like 400-year-old,
Oh yeah, so this guy's hundreds of years old
hundreds of years old.
and just crotchety and just doing slam poetry
That's
about
so
all the
funny.
bullshit that he has no filter on any. He has no filter for
His
anymore.
old man filter. I think we all know parents or grandparents that are getting there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I think that would be
you,
fun.
Grammy.
Yeah. Or maybe he's just like a really sweet, sweet Gentile old man who maybe sang something that was meant to be a compliment for somebody and someone took it the wrong way and he got thrown in jail.
That's very
That
likely.
could be cute. That could be fun.
Cute.
Yeah.
Nothing cuter than
Maybe
getting
he's just
thrown in jail.
maybe he's just really honest and he thinks
Yeah.
honesty is,
yeah.
he
So
thinks honesty's good and he's like, yeah, I should be singing about all these things that I see about this person.
absolutely.
And they're like, fuck him. What'd you say about me?
Silly.
Throw him in jail.
So go ahead and roll our final roll for creating this character, which
Oh,
is
the tragedy meter?
the tragedy meter.
Yeah, so our tragedy meter is on a D10 scale from 1 to 10. 1 being, very
Family.
family or
Home.
family man. Not a
Kids.
whole lot. Nothing really bad happened.
Yeah. He's a criminal already, so something bad.
he's a criminal. So we
lot of people
might
are
need
criminals.
we might need to tweak it, or maybe he was a criminal for what he thought was a good reason.
Sure.
In that case, and then 10 being, everyone's dead. So let's
Yeah.
find out. That's 7. So pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
It's a pretty bad.
Pretty bad. I think anarchist is starting to be a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe
In the focal-
his wife got taken hostage by somebody, or maybe he owed money to some like important political figures, and they used family as leverage, and so now he's saying like fuck the system. I'm gonna bring everything down. I'm gonna bring it down from the bottom up. Mm-hmm. So I think that's pretty good.
From the bottom up.
From the top down. Bottom up.
Because he's a gnome.
Yep, that's right.
Short, that's the joke.
They're like what 2.5 feet, 3 feet tall.
They're really small.
3 feet on a good day.
I think like 3 feet max.
Yeah.
Is what we're looking at here.
Okay. So anarchist, elderly bard.
Gnomes average slightly over 3 feet tall and weigh 40 to 45 pounds.
That's tiny.
Little gnome.
That's like a big dog size. It kind of sort.
I don't know your dog scale. Why are you bringing a dog scale into
I'm
this?
trying to compare it to
So
something.
you know what we also can do? There's a very handy dandy table on the criminal background here that has a criminal specialty. Do we want to go deep and roll on that criminal specialty
I
table?
think we do. Criminal background.
Some good ones here. We got blackmailer, burglar, enforcer, fence.
You tell me what to roll, and then let's.
You're rolling
find
a
out.
D8, sir.
I'm rolling a D8.
That's right.
Okay, let's see. That's nope. Okay, 6.
6.
He's a hired killer.
He's a hired killer. This just keeps
All
getting
right, this is getting spicy.
really spicy.
This is getting spicy. So he's a hitman.
Hired, yeah, sure, certainly. There are, first of all, Lost Mine does include, there are several gnomish folk that are involved in the story. If you're feeling spicy and you're a DM and you want to spice up Lost Mine a little bit, you can always mix in a little bit of Dragon of Icespire Peak. And there's a lot of stuff in there. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, though, so we'll focus just on Lost Mine. So, hired killer, bard. So maybe this is sort of like a undercover sort of like Hitman style, infiltrates under the guise of being an entertainer.
Yeah.
And then once he gets in position,
Double agent. Ooh. I like
could
it.
be good.
I like it.
Could be good.
Gets hired out by third parties
Sure.
to infiltrate whatever parties or what have you,
He's always got a target.
and assassinate target.
Hired killer.
Hired.
See, here's the difference, though.
See, the anarchist really
Assassination-
leans into that.
See, I don't want to go too deep into the assassination, though, because assassin is its own thing.
Yeah.
Right? This is hired killer. This means that I'm thinking more like a button man, but I mean, it could go a little bit deeper. He is old.
So roughhousing, blackmail, maybe you can do that a little bit more.
Well, specifically killer. Let's
Yeah.
not pull too far back.
Okay. We did roll a 7 on the tragedy.
We did.
He's probably a little bloodthirsty.
He's definitely a little tragic.
Yeah. Okay.
Get it. I'll stop. So, do we want to roll and see what kind of characteristics we get for this guy?
Sure.
Let's start with personality trait.
All right. I got an 8.
I blow up at the slightest insult. Oh, so he's hair trigger.
Oh yeah.
Dude, this is... I
So
love this character.
he's already a very boisterous, we're assuming, because he's a bard. So this really leans into that.
Boisterous bard.
A boisterous bard, yes. So, I think, the
Well,
slightest insult. So he might not be very good at it.
Yeah.
He might not be very good at infiltrating.
Or maybe his art form, I mean, it's spoken word, right?
Yeah.
So he obviously can't take criticism. And maybe
He doesn't take criticism on his art at all.
something to do with anger. I mean, slam poetry.
It's slam poetry right there, dude. It's right there.
I hate it.
I have a scene in my
I
head
hate
of him
it.
doing some like okay slam poetry, and not everybody's giving him the snaps, and him just blowing up and fucking throwing stuff,
Just
casting
getting
spells,
so livid.
getting belligerent. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good.
Maybe he's got like a whole act where like I'm trying to think more of like the comedian style, but it's got to be slam poetry.
It could be comedian. Yeah, maybe he's a comedian where not a lot of people think.
Maybe he does what's that? That kind of comedy where he just rags on people.
Yeah.
There's a smash.
I mean, he could roast.
Yeah, he could roast like crowd work.
Yeah, just crowd
He
work.
does crowd work, but as soon as he gets any flack, he just casts cutting words on whoever fucking gives him any flack.
Yeah, and look at this guy over here. He's been sipping sissy wine the whole fucking night. He's like, "Yeah, you're short. The fuck you say to me?" Start casting spells.
Yeah, he just starts. I was like, ah! Great.
Anyway, as I was saying,
So it starts in a tavern,
Yep.
just like normal.
and then we can do ideals. Let's see. Okay, so he blows up at the slightest insult. So
Cool.
that's something. And then let's get what we got here.
Ideal.
I got a 3.
Charity.
I steer from the wealthy so that I can help people in need. That doesn't necessarily be how he operates. Maybe that's how he started.
Sure.
And this could have been like.
Well,
like
it's
pushing-
also an ideal of his. So he's
Yeah.
charitable.
Yeah,
So maybe he's
to the right people.
tragic. So maybe he's a hired killer, but only he's a hired killer for the right people, the right organizations, for the right.
Or for the
Reasons.
right targets.
Yeah.
The people that he thinks.
Sure.
So
Because this is a
like,
hero
This is like a Robin Hood, but killing people
with his words.
with his words. Yeah.
Sure.
Slam poet. Yeah.
I love it. Okay.
Bash. Yeah. Just talk shit to them until they die.
Talk
from
shit until
vicious
their head
mockery.
blows up.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine
viciously mock
mockery.
them to death, yeah.
Or just blood just squirts out
Tie
their
him to a
ears.
chair and just start talking shit to them until they die. Yeah. I see that. That's
love
probably
it.
how he does it.
All right. Bond.
Bond. Okay. Let's
D6.
Let's see. We got a 2. My ill-gotten gains go to support my family.
You get to roll and you get to read it out loud?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and read it.
You already did it.
You want me to
It
re-roll
doesn't
it?
feel right.
Okay,
No, you got a 2.
Okay.
I've gotten gains go to support my family. Okay, we're good. I feel heard.
Right. So yeah, this definitely leans into the more bloodthirsty Robin Hood sort of
Absolutely.
feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I
This
like
guy's got some problems.
Yeah.
And
well,
maybe his family, he's super old, right?
yeah, he's old.
It's-
He's been doing this for a
It's
while.
just the only person left is like his grandkids or like a son or something like that, or maybe even his ancient gnomish wife.
Maybe they don't even know that he does this. He just like goes off and goes
yeah,
to work and
super vigilante.
comes home and says, "Oh, hi, honey,
Yep.
how was work?"
Yep.
It's good.
you
It's fine.
sound hoarse again tonight. Were you yelling,
Is
honey?
that the horse races?
Oh my god.
Yeah, friend invited me to the horse
I'm
races.
typing vigilante because that's fucking hilarious.
Definitely.
All right,
vigilante.
flaw D6.
All right, let's see. This is going to be another 2, which is
When faced with a choice between money and my friends, I usually choose the money.
to support his family.
Yeah, that's right. So he's
So he must owe a lot of money.
a hard ass.
because there's a lot. Because he's really leaning into that money thing.
oh, for sure.
Very charitable. So he's either part of a community that is in dire straits when it comes to funds, and especially his family. So maybe he's part. Maybe he's part of like the slums of Waterdeep, maybe, which
Yeah.
is most of Waterdeep,
Yeah.
right? Is also no.
No, not really. But Waterdeep definitely. I mean, most cities have a criminal underground.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like it doesn't matter how tight knit the city is. Neverwinter, Luskin would be a great place. Luskin's sort of like it's right in between like the Icewind Dale, like the far north, so north of the spine of the world, and Neverwinter to the south. It's sort of that sweet spot where there's like piracy. Tons of people are coming through the north, like hard bitten adventurers and stuff like that. So there's plenty of places on the Sword Coast. You could be as far south as, I mean, now that we kind of have like a firm image of this crotchety old vigilante bard gnome, we can kind of spread our wings a little bit and sort of get a vibe of where this dude is from.
Blows up the size income. It's all about the charity. Mm-hmm. Okay. Supports the fam. I like this.
Absolutely.
This is a very intricate character. This is quite lovely.
Actually, yeah, this is a pretty intricate character.
And where we've stopped right now, you could keep it at that if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, that would be easy. That you could plug and play this dude, or I think we already determined he's going to be a male.
It's a male, yeah.
Or whatever gender you prefer. But this dude, and we don't need to come up with a name, but I feel like he deserves a name.
He absolutely deserves a name. We don't have to do it right now.
No, we'll
keep
see
that
what
towards
we'll see what comes to our mind. We'll see what percolates.
Percolates, not
That's right.
not pers. Yeah,
That's right. Good job. We do have such fantastic male name examples from D&D Beyond as Alston, Alvin, Bodyknock.
Body knock.
Bodyknock.
Body knock.
I feel like Bodyknock is like
That's a stripper name. That's
Bodyknock. Yeah, it's a porn name right there. Zook, Rundar, Namfoodle, Nanfoodle. There's a gnomish character named Nanfoodle in the Drizzt Do'Urden series.
Really?
He's an alchemist.
Is that a common name?
Apparently, it's right here, except it's spelled with an M. Namfoodle. So, anyway, we have that down.
Right.
All right.
So
We have a pretty good framework for who we want this little gnome bard to be. Now, you can go much deeper if you so choose. This is probably the point. I mean, we've been rolling everything, so it's obviously determined completely randomly. But this would be the point where you have an idea, you interface with your DM. Would you like to be the DM or should I? And we start just going in on the backstory.
let me do it.
Yeah.
I got it.
You got it.
I might have to refer to you when it comes to specific
Sure.
information because I'm not. I was told not to research super deeply, at least initially with Forgotten Realms. But I
You
guess
can
now,
look up anything.
now it doesn't
anything-
matter.
You can look up anything you want about Lost Mine.
Now it
and
don't matter.
You won't know what the fuck going on.
That's right. That's true. But you are well versed in it, and I am not. So.
That's all right. We have the technology.
But I want to be the final say in your choices. So I'll
Right,
be the
because
Jim.
you came up with the slam poet
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, and we went
Sure.
with it, so.
That's valid.
Yeah.
Super
So what are you
valid.
feeling? What are you thinking about this character?
Well,
About this rock gnome criminal bard?
I was sort of getting I have a very love-hate sort of relationship with the whole slam poet thing, especially because I know that if I'm the player in this fictitious scenario,
You're going to
that
have to start doing some
I'm
slam
gonna have
poetry.
to start-
And that's when you can lean into something that you actually like. He doesn't have to be
Yeah,
a
he
slam
doesn't have
poet.
to be a
If
slam
you just
poet.
like doing regular poetry, or if you like singing
Yeah.
little ditties, or if you want to do little dances,
Yeah.
you don't have to. You can describe your character doing such things, and that's totally
Absolutely.
fine too.
So-
but it's fun to lean into it if you kind of know how to do slam poetry. It's fun to write little bits here and there about it.
Absolutely. And so let's look into College of Valor real quick. Me as the player. Daring Skald to keep tales alive, whose tales keep alive the memory of the great heroes of the past, inspiring a new generation of heroes. They travel the land to witness great events and ensure the memory of those events don't pass from the world. Now, this is a subclass, and bards get a subclass at level 3, like most classes. And so there is something to be said about, yes, I am planning for a subclass, but we'll see kind of where the story takes me. However, with College of Valor in mind, the beginning of Lost Mine, which is what, Dia? What's the beginning of Lost Mine?
Lost Mine. Everybody in the group has to have some sort of tie to Gundren Rockseeker, who is looking for basically security detail for a shipment that is supposed to be going from Neverwinter to Phandalin. There you go. The word, it was like right there.
Nailed
I
it.
had it. Yeah.
Nailed it.
Going to Phandalin. And in which case the situation happens, and he gets captured, does all the stuff, go investigate all that stuff. But the initial thing is he has to be involved. He has to know Gundren in some capacity.
Absolutely.
So if you want to make it simple, Gundren is from Neverwinter, correct? I believe, or no?
I mean, he's seeking help in
Neverwinter.
or in the area.
So that would be easy. That would be just this character being from the slums of Neverwinter and is trying to make money to help sustain his family and his community.
Sure.
That could be an easy one.
Absolutely.
Or if you want to have him be from somewhere else.
Yeah, let's keep it simple.
How is Coneyberry?
How is Coneyberry?
How is Coneyberry from at the start of everything?
I mean, Coneyberry is a ruin. It's not really. It
starts as a ruin.
It's an
It is a
ancient
ruin.
town. You know what? You bring Coneyberry up. How about let's call him Body Knock? I kind of like Body
wanna
Knock.
do Body Knock?
I like the way.
Is that his first and last name is just Body? His name is Body Knock.
First name Body Knock.
Okay, so Body Knock.
People call him Bod.
Yeah.
That's how he's known around town. He grew up in
Body
Coneyberry.
Knock. Knock.
N-O-C-K.
N-O-C-K.
B-O-D-D-Y-N-O-C-K.
Body Knock.
Body Knock. Also, so yeah, maybe he grew up in one of the surrounding villages during the time of
I mean, and this is an old slam poet.
old man.
So he's been around.
He's been
you
around.
can have him literally be from anywhere, and he's made his way over
Oh,
to
for sure.
Neverwinter. But I think just for simplicity's sake, just start around the time that he started adventuring.
Yeah.
If you wanted to further flesh out his backstory when he was younger,
Yeah.
and then you can talk to your DM and talk about ties regarding that. Mm-hmm. But
Yeah.
especially
Allies, enemies.
when you're first starting off, it's very daunting to think I have to come up with
300
hundreds
years?
of years of backstory for this one character. You don't have to do that.
You don't. No.
No,
You fill
Just
it in
do
as you
in and
go.
around the time that he started adventuring. That's perfectly fine.
Yep.
If you get inspiration, or if you get some sort of what if he did this when he was younger at a certain point? And
Sure.
You can throw
Yes,
it in.
and it into being.
Yeah.
Talk to your DM. Write it in your notes, in your backstory, and all of it will add up. And I already have a whole story that I've manufactured in my brain, but we'll keep it low key.
No, please give us a tidbit of this manifested story. Tell
Oh,
me.
absolutely.
Give me a little bit.
No,
Give me a taste.
We'll get into it
I want
at
to
the
know
end.
taste. Like, give me taste.
I want to taste. No, we'll get into it at the end.
Okay.
I did want to clarify something about College of Valor. They are basically, minus College of Swords, combat focused. They are proficient with medium armor, shields, and martial weapons, and their bardic inspiration die can be used and added to a weapon damage roll or to the AC of the creature that has that possession.
So this really leans into him being a hired killer.
Oh,
'cause
absolutely.
Being a combat-focused bard.
Combat-focused bard.
Beautiful.
And how does he inspire those? How does he inspire his allies or those that he is gooning with? Well, it doesn't have to be slam poetry.
No, you're really pushing away from slam poetry, and that's okay.
But I was thinking, like, I just love the idea. This is actually an idea I've legitimately toyed with before, because bardic inspiration doesn't have to be a song.
No.
It doesn't even have to be something musical at all. It could be
It could be a thumbs up and a wink.
It could be a joke. It could be an insult.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like a brief anecdote of like, oh, remember the time I was fighting with two swords Magone, and boy, he stabbed a man right through his asshole and then through the throat. You should do that. Bardic inspiration.
Yeah, I remember last time I had a really crazy trip on some peyote here, and oh boy, I had some crazy dreams with that.
That's why he's a criminal, man.
Good luck.
He's been caught doing drugs.
That is a bardic inspiration.
Crazy drug guy.
I mean,
Cool.
he's been around it.
Oh, he's definitely been.
He's definitely been around it,
He's
so
definitely
he
been
may or may not.
And
have
you know what?
partaken.
He has a 7 on the tragedy scale. So I'm right now.
He's an addict. You think he might be an
I
addict
don't know
a little
about,
bit?
I don't know. Let's not go.
This could be
too far.
multifaceted. He needs money for the community, for his family, for his coke addiction. Like this could be a multifaceted read. Is why he needs
Oh
all this money.
God. Well, put a bookmark in that. Put a bookmark
pin
in
in
drug
that one.
addiction
Okay.
here.
Well,
it's pretty.
He
yeah.
dabbles.
He dabbles.
He definitely dabbles.
I mean, if you're 300 years old in a fantasy world,
you've dabbled.
you've dabbled.
You
For sure.
Right.
But so what was I gonna say? Damn, I lost my train of thought when you started talking about drugs.
Tangent.
Fantasy cocaine. Damn, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, he's been alive for a long time. 7 out of 10 tragedy, but he is trying to make money for his family. So, part of a gnomish community somewhere, classic gnomish upbringing. However, maybe that community came under attack or was in some sort of like natural disaster or something like that. Most people died. Parts of his family and him escaped. He wandered around telling stories that he grew up with to make money, and then eventually got kind of hardened by wandering and not having a home, became a hired killer, and started realizing that he had this bardic talent. Why are you looking at me like that?
That sounds great.
Okay, that's tragic. That's super
That's
tragic.
absolutely
It's not
tragic.
the most tragic.
No, but we didn't roll a 10, so
That's true.
It's not going to be the most
It's
tragic.
pretty tragic.
Pretty tragic.
Above average.
Yeah.
Tragedy. Yeah, extra attack. They get combat inspiration, extra attack, and battle magic. That's amazing. Okay, so combat focused. Wandered around, probably, roughneck, goon, hired sword eventually, and then didn't even realize his bardic talents until he started.
Maybe until when he initially got hired, it might have just happened in a moment of like need, or
Yeah.
maybe he said an insult as he was really mad at somebody, and,
It
stabbed
literally
him,
happened.
and then literally happened.
Yeah, he tried to stab him with his words, and he actually
Stabbed him with words.
guy started bleeding.
Yeah,
And he was like, "Oh yeah, I
and
could
that's,
use this."
and that's the fun thing about magic too, is you can flavor it however you want.
Absolutely. That's the
Maybe he's staring. Maybe he's throwing daggers. Maybe he's throwing some vicious mockery daggers at people.
Yeah, maybe his stare alone or
Yeah.
his sneer.
Staring daggers at people. When
Yeah.
he does vicious mockery.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
He does have a song of rest. He is a skald. So thinking about all these bard abilities, like in a holistic kind of view, using his words and using the tales that he, grew up hearing. He used to tell his kids. Maybe he now just has a very small community of his family. That's all that's left of this gnomish community that was brought to ruin. And again, you don't need to put a name to it. You don't even need to put a location to it. It's just tragic, and it can stay that way. And if other players start asking questions, well, shit, come up with it. Yes, and that shit into existence. And a DM who is wanting to help you will assist you in the moment. And ominous dominus, that shit exists. And it doesn't even need to be a real place.
No,
it
doesn't.
doesn't.
Not at all. It doesn't have to.
No, you can make up something completely new. And
He's from Dusseldorf. It's up
it's in
northeast
it's
of
a couple
miles.
It's that
over
the fantasy
from
continent of
over from
Europe, European. It's located in
I live in
Nomini.
a hole in the hill just over yonder.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, it does. It literally.
Great. So, I like it.
I like this. This is good.
And now, I guess how does Bod know Gundren? How does Gundren find Bod? Help me.
Well, I think it would just be very, especially if maybe this is very close to the tragic event with his family and his community, and they've been wandering around to try and find a new place to live, which happened to be Neverwinter, and maybe that's when he started getting, being a hired killer, and then he starts to gain notoriety within Neverwinter, and Gundren Rockseeker is looking for tough, grizzled people to protect him during this whole shipment for reasons that you'll find out if you play Lost Mines of Phandelver.
That's exactly right.
But I think just being in Neverwinter
that you may or may not discover 52 sessions later.
and still have the box and have yet to open it.
Oh, the box isn't part of the story either.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
So
never mind.
Just
don't worry about that.
Gundren's the only
Okay. Cool.
And Sildar,
that
who is
sense.
dead.
Is absolutely dead.
Super dead in my campaign.
Yeah, we might talk about that. But I think this character in particular, just being in Neverwinter, would probably be contacted by Gundren.
Oh, absolutely. Because if Gundren's looking for, like you said, if he's looking for people to protect the wagon, here in the tavern, old Bod, yeah, you need to hit up Bod. Bod needs money. Bod gets the job done.
Bod gets the job done.
He's got a mouth on him.
Yeah, he's mouthy. But if you've got the coin, he'll get the job done.
Absolutely.
I think that would be right up Gundren's alley.
And also, Bod might need to get out of town. He is a criminal after all.
He is a criminal, so this might also be a good reason. Maybe he's
got some heat.
Maybe he killed the son of a political official or something, and now he's like, he's got a lot of heat on him. Now he has to leave. Mm-hmm. Or now he's trying to find a reason to leave.
Yeah.
And then maybe when you head back to Neverwinter, that could be potential. That could be a potential plot hook lying in wait for you there.
There you go. That's how easy it is to sort of naturally speak these backstory elements into existence. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be super hard or fast in how you believe it. It could be tenuous, and suddenly it's like, hey, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be specific until it's right in front of you.
Absolutely. That's future DM's problem.
Yeah. So if your DM's not expecting you to go back to Neverwinter for another 10, 15 sessions or however long, I don't know any DM that thinks that far ahead, but most of us don't think that far ahead. But I don't think that far ahead. But it's not something that needs to be in the forefront of your mind until you're almost there.
Absolutely.
You're like, hey, I see us going to Neverwinter in a couple sessions. Our next session, we're going to be in Neverwinter. Let's go into what happened and why you had to leave. You said that you had killed we said that you had killed a political official. Let's talk about who that political official was. Mm-hmm. How high up were they in that political
Let's
hierarchy?
do some research. Let's dredge up or come up with some functionary within the tenuous government of Neverwinter.
Could just be a high-ranking noble or a high-ranking merchant noble who maybe runs
from a job gone wrong, maybe even.
Job gone wrong, maybe. Maybe you were hired to kill a specific person and you failed. alluding to the hire of this person being killed, so that led to an investigation for this person. So that person got under the gun, maybe fell from grace, and maybe even was stricken of their noble title, and so maybe you're dealing with a little bit of a BBEG in your background here.
There you go.
Maybe they're out to seek revenge on you.
Absolutely. That sounds pretty damn good to me. So we're doing away with vigilante, which makes sense. It's hard to take like, oh, my character was a vigilante and did all this cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, you can make that work for sure. And we could absolutely run with that if we needed to. Those sort of very dominant roles like that a character might have at level 1, again, we can make it happen. But this is good. This is in line with Lost Mine. This is a good reason to leave town and accept, I think it's 25. It's not a crazy amount of gold that Gundren's offering. It's just enough for Bod to want to get out of town, lay low in Phandalin for a while, do some easy jobs, and
come home with a nice sack of coin to give back to his family, and whatever's left over he can give to his community and his drug addiction. You know, it's just fun. You know, it's great.
Oh, that's great.
And then that can be, and even just leaning into, he's an old man, he probably dabbles. You can lean into some fun little, some fun role-playing interactions.
Absolutely. We already have the old man voice is right there.
He's right there.
He's right there.
I think he's a little bit more.
Or maybe he's a tough. No, that's sort of, I guess gnomes in most.
Yeah, he's sort of tough.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a low. You can have a deep voice.
You could have a deep old voice.
He's a rock gnome.
He is a rock gnome.
Maybe rock gnomes have a naturally long, vocal cords for their size. You know, could be.
I don't know where you're going with that.
I don't know either. A naturally large vocal cords. You know.
Sure. I think that's pretty good.
It can be whatever voice you want. It really.
It can.
Matter.
Yeah. You could be.
It'll be fine.
It'll be great.
You do you.
It'll be great.
Yeah. Could be good. Could be fun.
Awesome. I like that. That is a character that, first of all, tragic. Very tragic. And you could even, winnow that down to like, who's alive? Maybe he just has one son, or like actually it'd probably be like a great grandson or something like that.
It's his great granddaughter. The whole family died, and he's just trying to protect his great granddaughter.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep.
Has a friend who watches her when he's off on a job.
Yeah,
and he's taking care of one, maybe two people.
Yeah. And that is around a 7 tragedy. He has a great granddaughter alive. I'm maybe more. We'll work on the tragedy scale. We'll it's a workshop.
Maybe it's his daughter and 2 kids or something. Sure,
there you go. Yeah.
She's sick, so he has to take. That's why he has to work, even though he's older.
Tear jerking.
Tragic. You can tweak and finagle this however you see fit.
Absolutely. All right. So we've got Body Knock the Bard. And boy, does that sound good. Body Knock the Bard.
That's a very bard name.
Oh, absolutely. The Bod. Call him Bod the Bard.
Bod the Bard.
I love it. And he doesn't hesitate when he's got to get a little physical with the youngins.
Name's Body Knock because I don't knock twice.
If you start fucking around, I'm gonna start knocking on your body, and I'll tell you what, it's not gonna feel good. Meow. I don't know why he meows.
Meow.
Unless you got.
I mean, he is elderly.
You
can lean into the senile. Yeah, they should dog twice. Meow. You can just
absolutely crazy.
You can lean into the little.
Fuck.
You can lean into the old fuck, or you can just say whatever pops up in your head.
I don't know why. I'm imagining a voice of like. There's a recent movie called The Green Book. I think.
I don't know what that means.
And it's basically about a like affluent African American man. I think it was like in the 1960s. I want to say the 1960s or the 1970s. He basically hires like an Italian guy, like a hard bitten like Italian guy who like is a bouncer for a club, but also does odd jobs because the club's owned by like somebody who's attached to the mafia. And so he takes this job because it pays really good money, and he ends up becoming like, and he's got a very like, come on, Doc, So maybe he's like, come on, you don't want to fuck with me. You've heard of me. I'm Bod the Bod. You don't want to fuck with me. That kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Italian
it sounds pretty good.
Mafioso.
That could be fun.
Could be good. Could be fun.
I don't know why that just feels right to me.
It feels right, and that's okay.
I love it. Bad.
Whatever feels right.
Yeah.
And if you come up with an idea and you're thinking, okay, this sounds really cool, but it doesn't feel right, do any tweaks that you want.
Sure. And if whatever, there's something again.
And hopefully your DM is receptive to those changes, because you have to make things make sense in a way for you to be able to connect the story. But those things can always be, if you really want to change it, those things can always be changed later. If you're like, this really doesn't feel right for me.
Yep.
Can we change into something else?
Communication is
important
Yes.
in any successful relationship,
Absolutely.
friendship or otherwise.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. I think that's it.
I think we got some good stuff
I
right
think
now.
that was good.
Yeah.
So we're going to try, as this is our first episode, we are going to be trying to do our best to constantly be updating how we're doing things, how we're running things, new tables, suggestions, if that should arise from any person or persons. We will endeavor to, add that to our repertoire. Also, we're going to be doing our best to take each character that we make and importing them, or I should say exporting that information onto a character sheet with all relevant details. And we'll, sort of come up with the little in-between stuff. And we'll have links where you can find those character sheets eventually. As of right now, work in progress.
Yes, work in progress. Probably be like a Google Drive thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Link to any sort of character sheets that we may or may not
absolutely.
have. Could be a Patreon thing. I don't know. First episode, we're figuring it out.
Yep. I'm just happy to be here in my own house.
Yeah. Me too.
Great. All right. Well, thanks for listening. It's still recording.
No. Turn it off.